Hi, I just want to overview the Reading and Writing Resources Guide that I put together for you. It has some strategies and some tips in it that can help you with both your reading comprehension as well as your writing for the constructed response. So there are three areas of focus for writing a clear response to a prompt. Remember that the constructed response is a response that you're building and you're using the text to help support whatever your answer is to the prompt. So you're looking to have strengths in writing skills, reading skills, and also using the resource that you're given, which is the text itself, to support an answer. So you really don't have to go beyond the text. Like, there's no added research that you have to do. There's nothing you need to look up. Everything that you need in order to answer the prompt is going to be contained within the text that you're given, and the prompt will ask you to analyze a specific aspect of that. So your writing skills should be clear and complete. You should have grade level appropriate spelling, grammar. Make sure you're punctuating. It's academic writing. You want to use conventional techniques, so it's not like text writing, like LOL, or using the letter U instead of the word, like you should write it out. For your reading skills, you want to demonstrate that you understand the text that you read, but you also want to make sure that you understand the prompt too. And to do that, you should be addressing all parts of the prompt. Sometimes prompts will be a little bit complex and they're asking you to look at a couple of different things. So if you're asked to analyze two aspects or to consider two ideas, you want to make sure that you're addressing both of those in your answer. And then the support, that's going to come directly from the text. So you're going to either cite specific examples, you could paraphrase, but the rule of thumb really for a CR is to make it obvious that you're using text support. So by basically copying and pasting something right out of the text, like the direct words, the exact words right out of the text, and then putting quotation marks around it, is going to make it really obvious that you have chosen text support that is relevant and will support your answer. When it comes to reading skills, you want to read the question or the prompt before reading the text. That's going to allow you to read with focus and read with purpose. To read the text, you want to use reading strategies. You might want to take notes, so annotate the text as you're reading through it. Read through it a couple of times. By highlighting important examples, you can use those later in your written response. So you can actually sort of find your text support as you're reading because you know what you're looking for. So you're kind of like a detective looking for an answer, and it's going to be in there somewhere. There are a lot of different reading comprehension strategies that can help you stay focused. So if you do struggle with reading comprehension, you seem to forget what you read almost instantaneously, or if it's something that's not particularly interesting for you, sometimes it can be hard for us to keep our focus. So by practicing reading comprehension strategies, you can actually improve your reading skills. And some of the basic ones are like to reread the text. So the more information you get out of multiple reads, the more you're going to understand what it is that you've read. You also want to think about what you already know. So activate your prior knowledge. That will help you make those connections with the text. Use your context clues, especially if there are words that you don't quite understand. It can help you to understand what's going on within the context. Infer meaning, so you want to read between the lines, take what you know and add that to the information that you're getting in the text, and that's going to help you make inferences. You might want to think aloud, actually talk through it, question the text, like I wonder what's going to happen next, and then see if you can answer that question as you're reading. Also try to summarize the story, so look at who the main characters are, look at the setting, the location, what is the issue or the problem that the character's facing, and then what is the outcome. Is the problem solved? Is it solved the way that the character thought it would be solved? Was there a twist? That sort of thing. You also want to locate keywords. Again, keywords or key ideas that jump out are going to be important and can help you to answer the question. Make predictions as you're reading about what you think the outcome will be, and are you surprised or are you validated? You might want to use word attack strategies. Again, looking at the root, looking at the prefix or the suffix. So if there are words in there that you don't know, by using your word skills, it can help you to understand what you're reading a little bit better. You can visualize what you're reading, so try to see it play play out as a movie in your mind. You know, try to cast the characters, if you will. Try to put together the information that you're getting, the imagery for the setting. Can you see the characters in a particular place? What is happening? What's around them? What's going on? And actually imagine that the story is unfolding. You might want to use graphic organizers, and I have some examples to share with you that can actually help you organize as you're reading, but graphic organizers can also help you with your writing as well. You want to evaluate your understanding. So what did you learn? Think about any questions you had before you started reading. Like if you look at the title of a story or of a text that you're going to read, what questions come to mind? And then did you get those questions answered? If not, you might want to reread or try some of your other reading comprehension strategies. So an example of a reading strategies graphic organizer is the Q&A. So this is where you're going to ask questions before reading, like what do I already know about this topic? Or after reading the title, I'm interested to know this. Like, is this going to be something that I discover through reading this? And predict as you're reading. Predict what the outcome is going to be. Again, visualize what do you see, what's unfolding before you, and then make the connections between what you already know and what it is that you're reading, and respond. Again, evaluate, go back and look at and see if your questions were answered. If not, you might want to do some more rereading. Another reading strategies graphic organizer is the feature map, and this is just a nice way for you to be able to organize the information that you're getting. So you can look at the who are the characters, what's going on, when is this set, where is it set, why is this happening, and how is the story unfolding. So just a really simple way for you to put the information in some kind of visual format. The main event bridge can be a graphic organizer that you find really useful, where you're looking at the main idea of the story. So what is this text mostly about? And this can work for fiction or nonfiction. So if you're reading a nonfiction article, for instance, what is the article mostly about, or what is the story mostly about? And then look at the ideas that support that main idea. For fiction or nonfiction, you can look at them a little bit differently. So for fiction, for stories that are made up, you might want to just, again, organize the information in a way that allows you to kind of break the story down into manageable parts. So you might want to just list all of the characters in the story, and then the setting, which could change, and you want to make note of that, how the setting is changing, and what is the overall problem, what is the conflict in the story, and what is the resolution, the solution, the outcome of that problem. For nonfiction, you're looking at the topic. So what is it about? And that will be related to the main idea. So the main idea will be the what about this topic. And then you can look at the facts or the statistics or the supporting details and just break it down into smaller pieces so that you can kind of analyze the story or the article by chunks. When it comes to writing skills, you want to write in paragraph format, proofread for errors in spelling and grammar, try the RACE strategy, use the starter paragraph, and if you've got it, you have pretty strong writing skills going into this type of task, then polish your writing. You can never have enough practice. So proofread and edit, make sure that your response is clear and thorough. You want to practice sentence variety, word choice, and vocabulary usage. So if you're a strong writer, then work with vocabulary and grammar and sentence structure, and just try to take your writing one step further. The RACE graphic organizer is really a great way to help you format the constructed response. You want to restate the question or prompt, which is pretty simple. For instance, if it says, what is the main idea of this paragraph, you can just cross out the what, and the restatement will be the main idea of this paragraph is, right? And then answer it. And typically your answer is going to be one sentence in a short answer constructed response. So you can answer the prompt in one sentence. But it's a paragraph format that you're writing in, so what makes up the bulk of the paragraph if you're writing one sentence to answer the prompt? That's the C and the E. These are your citations. You want at least 2 to 3 pieces of evidence to support your answer, and then you want to explain. I chose this answer because this quote supports my answer because, and you really just want to make the connection between what you read and the answer that you came up with. You can also do an outline if you want to take the graphic organizer a little bit further, or skip it altogether. It's up to you what works best for you for the writing strategy. But if you want to, you can just look at it in pieces. What is the prompt asking you to do, so that you can make sure you're answering all parts of the prompt. Look at the citations that are going to relate to that answer. Explain each citation as you use it. So don't save all of your explanations to the end. Don't, list a bunch of quotes and then explain all of these quotes are doing this. Make sure you address each citation at a time. And in some cases, you will write a conclusion where you're restating your answer or summarizing your explanations, but that's not always required in this type of writing. So basically, the structure and format of the CR is going to be an answer, a citation, an explanation of that citation, at least a second citation, a second explanation, and then if required, you'll want to write a conclusion. You can also use a starter paragraph if you know that you're struggling a little bit with writing, or if you're not used to this type of writing assignment, you've never seen the constructor response before. You can start out with the starter paragraph, which has sentence starters in it for you. But you'll want to eventually move away from this very basic sort of fill-in-the-blank paragraph and expand your writing skills. But basically, you'll want to answer the prompt in your own words. So there are many ways a lot of times that you can answer the same prompt. So not everybody will necessarily have the exact same response. But just make sure you are addressing all parts of the prompt. And then set your quote up. A quote from the text that supports my answer is, insert your quote, use quotation marks, and then transition into your explanation. This quote supports my answer because, and then explain the so what, why you chose quote number 1, and then transition into your second citation with another quote from the text that supports my answer is, again, use quotation marks to identify that you're using a direct quote, and then transition into your explanation. When you're supporting an answer, you want to cite examples from the text using quotation marks. The teacher said, quote, use quotation marks every time you choose a quote from a text, and quotation marks. You want to clearly and thoroughly explain your examples. Answer the question, so what, why, or how does this example support your answer? Prove why your answer is correct. So if we're looking here specifically at the C in the race strategy, referring back to that ever so popular way to format the constructor response, you want to provide at least 2 examples from the text, and you can use several sentence starters to transition into your quotation marks. In the photo illustration graph, it shows, the author says, I know this because, etc. To prove your answer is correct, you can use sentences such as according to the article, there has been a, and then quote, again, a copy and paste a direct answer, and that is going to be your citation. Then you transition again, maybe into another quote. Of course, the explanation's missing here because we're just looking specifically at the citations, but you would then explain why you chose that quote, and then you might transition again into another citation by saying the text states, comma, and then include your quotation again, followed by another explanation to make the connection between quotation and answer. The big bulk of this type of writing is really in the explanation. So you don't want your quotes to be too long or to be too wordy or to be too heavy. You also don't want to assume that your reader is going to make the connection that you did. You need to explain how the citation refers back to your answer and help your reader to see that. So prove why your answer is correct. Again, some sentence starters that can get you transitioning from citation to explanation. This means, this is because, I can tell that, that is why, etc., etc. There's also a checklist to follow before you submit the constructed response. Make sure that you read the prompt before reading the passage. Did you annotate as you were reading? Did you answer all parts of the prompt clearly? Did you find at least 2 citations? Did you use quotation marks? Did you clearly and thoroughly explain each? Did you write a brief conclusion that summarizes your answer and supporting details if required? And did you proofread your response for errors in spelling and grammar? Practice these skills and strategies every time you have to write this type of short answer response to become a better writer. Remember, the the better your writing, the better you can express your ideas to someone else. And of course, if you're still not sure, ask your teacher.